Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about the 1985 Italian horror film, Demons, and its Arrow Video 4K Blu-ray that actually came out a few years ago. And why are we talking about Demons here today? Well, this is actually Frank from Frank's Media Reviews monthly Director's Choice review. If you're a channel director, you have your choice of anything you want me to review every single month, and this month Frank chose Demons. He didn't necessarily choose for me to watch it on this 4K Blu-ray, but when we were doing our Collector's Corner episode, Frank showed me this beautiful collector's edition that he had for Demons 1 and 2. Now, I had never seen these movies before. The original Demons is directed by Lamberto Bava, and it's also known for being produced by Dario Argento. Dario Argento is actually a great producer of films through his own studio. He also produced the film, or co-produced the film, Dawn of the Dead. That's probably the most famous film he ever produced. He also has his own edited version of Dawn of the Dead, which is a pretty good version of the Dawn of the Dead. I still prefer the original George A. Romero cut, but still, that Argento version is fantastic. It features the Goblin score that, Dario Argento's films are most known for. This film itself, Demons, also features a Goblin score, or at least a score by Claudio Cimentini, who is in the band Goblin. So the score for this movie is fantastic, and actually so is the soundtrack for this movie. There's a Motley Crue song in there. You hear White Wedding by Billy Idol. So this feels like a film that really came out in the 1980s, and it came out right dead center in the 1980s in 1985. Now, this movie is an Italian horror film, so if you watch this film, you either watch it with an English dub or you watch it in Italian. I chose to watch it with the English dub, and the dub, it's very cheesy and it's pretty bad, but it works very fine for this type of movie. If you ever watched any Giallo film or Dario Argento film, the English dub, it's kind of part of its charm. And, I'm not the biggest Giallo horror fan, not because I don't want to be. In fact, every time I watch a Giallo horror movie, I actually just recently watched Deep Red, or in any Argento film. I've seen Suspiria, obviously, and actually this same year in 1985, you got Phenomena, and I actually reviewed this 4K Blu-ray, I believe last year it came out, and this is from Synops Films, which is funny because the US version of Demons and Demons 2 on 4K Blu-ray is coming out August 13th from Synops Films. So it's a pretty weird coincidence. I don't know if they have some sort of deal with like Argento's company, because Dario Argento is still making films despite the fact that most people think of him with the 1970s and the 1980s, but he's always making films and producing films. The budgets just don't really add up, so the effects don't look as good anymore as they used to look. But in movies like this, which again isn't directed by Dario Argento, it's just produced by him. This movie is directed by Lamberto Bava. The premise for this movie is fantastic, and the screenplay, yeah, it's a very cheesy kind of movie, but I love it for it because you're really there for the gore and the special effects, and they hit a grand slam with that in this movie. My God, the gore effects remind me so much of the original Evil Dead film, which came out a couple years before this, and I love the effects, and that also reminded me so much of Dawn of the Dead, which is my favorite zombie film of all time, or my second favorite zombie film of all time. So I love the effects in this movie. It's really just a splatterfest, and I love this movie for it. What's this movie about? Well, it's a very simple plot. In the beginning of this movie, there's a guy in a mask handing out tickets to a movie, but it doesn't tell you what movie they're going to see, so everybody turns up to this movie theater. When they turn the lights on the movie theater, they set plans for what's going to pay off later in the movie. Like, we see a dirt bike in the lobby, we see a mask, we see all this stuff that eventually actually helps to explain the plot of this movie going forward. So it's actually a smartly written screenplay, co-written with Dario Argento, and I really appreciate the film for that. Again, you're not really there for the plot, and it's just really the cool setting. This movie entirely takes place in a movie theater, and I love that for it. I'm a huge fan of movie theaters. I've always said it. It's my favorite place on earth is inside of a movie theater. This looks like a cool little movie theater, and I appreciate everything that they did with the set design for it. And, it kind of starts off a little slow. Like, where's this movie going? Despite it only being 90 minutes long, but eventually we end up where we need to end up, and once this movie takes off, it takes off. And like any good Italian horror film, the way this movie ends is not how you expect this movie to end. I mean, things really get out of hand.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
In a very similar situation to the movie Return of the Living Dead, which actually is my favorite zombie horror film of all time, which also I think came out in 1985. But either way, this movie is amazing, and Frank never recommends me a bad movie unless it's on purpose, like last month with Trolls 2. But this movie is just a generally great movie. I can't even explain to you guys how much I love this movie. It's actually to the point where I turned this movie on one night, just to watch it, and I was really tired. It was a long day. and I was like kind of dozing off. I was like 45 minutes in, and I was like, this movie needs attention. So the next day, I drank a cup of coffee, and I put that movie on, and I started from the beginning, and I just loved every single minute of watching this. It was also a great palate cleanser. I've been watching a lot of summer blockbusters, and also a lot of dramas, so it really just felt good to watch a good old-fashioned, fun horror movie, and just watch some people bleed to death with a great rock score playing over it. I mean, this movie is just a blast. 90 minutes of pure fun. This movie is directed phenomenally. It looks great, and this 4K Blu-ray that we're going to talk about right now is also really good. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, I grabbed the Arrow Video version. Now, this version was only released in the UK, I believe in July of 2021. The United States version will be released by Synops Films. They're going to be releasing Demons 1 and 2 on December 13th, but it should be the same version of this, which features a DTS HD 5.1 audio in either English, like I was saying with the dub, the Italian version. There's also a third cut of the film, which is a slightly edited version that features better dubs, apparently. I didn't really actually dive into this one too much because I chose to watch the English dubbed version, but all three versions, from what I can tell, they worked fine. It's just I chose to watch with the English dub. Like I was saying, it's kind of part of its charm. So the audio sounded pretty damn good for this movie, if I'm being honest. The score played great. Obviously because it's a dub, that's kind of distracting. It doesn't, the lips don't really match up. That's obviously something that's going to happen if you choose to watch a movie with a dub. You got to understand that when you're checking out the audio as it is. Now, one thing about this as well is when you come inside here, yes, this had a very nice collector's edition release with Demons 1 and 2. I got the just standard edition. Arrow Video does this, which I appreciate. I have like Tremors like this as well. So, this is just a regular old-fashioned 4K Blu-ray. There is no slipcover or anything. Now, like I was saying, there was a better version released in the past. I just didn't get that one. So here you get Demons on 4K Blu-ray, and you also have the Blu-ray. I can't play the Blu-ray because I don't have a region-free player, but luckily for me, 4K Blu-rays are always region-free, and all of your extras are actually on the 4K Blu-ray, so if I couldn't watch the Blu-ray, it's fine. I have all of my extras right there. I have all three cuts of the film, so I can play it regardless, and I also checked out those extras, and at the time, in 2021, this was actually given a brand new audio commentary track with 2 classic audio commentary tracks, so you got 3 audio commentary tracks on here, and you also got a brand new featurette diving into the producing career of Dario Argento, who produced this film. I actually love that feature. I thought it was fantastic. It's basically a video essay, but I thought it was done very well, and I didn't really know too much about Dario Argento's producing career. It also dives into a little bit of his entire career, and I really enjoyed that, and I thought that was the best extra on here. You also get some classic archival extras, which are really just interviews, but I'm glad they included it. But to give us 2 brand new extras in the commentary track, and in that brand new featurette about Dario Argento and his producing career, I really did love that, so honestly, the extras were pretty damn good. The only thing is we didn't get a real making of documentary, which I'm always going to give that a slight knock against it, but there's plenty of extras here if you're an extra junkie that I can't really say it's too bad. I just would have loved that, but still, 3 audio commentary tracks. If you love audio commentary tracks, you were gonna love this. Now, I had never seen this movie before I checked it out on this 4K Blu-ray, so for me, checking it out in HDR10 and Dolby Vision was just a treat in my opinion. This movie looked beautiful. We maintained that film grain, but this movie is actually very colorful. Like, a lot of the gore effects involved is very like lime, slimy looking green coming out of people's mouths, and man, that's gonna pop off your screen. All that red blood, the red lighting in the movie theater, all of that just looks beautiful. There's a scene early in the movie where a girl goes into a bathroom, and the way it's lit, like with this gold lighting, I mean, on an OLED TV, that is just gonna look so gorgeous. We hit those deep blacks, but really it's the colors in this movie. They're so vivid, they're so dynamic, and for a movie like this to look this good, although Giallo films have really lent themselves so much to the 4K Blu-ray format. Phenomena is a great 4K Blu-ray. Suspiria is widely considered one of the best 4K Blu-rays, if not the best 4K Blu-ray of all time. The 1970s version, a lot of people consider that to be one of the best 4K Blu-rays of all time. Same thing with Deep Red, so I'm not too surprised that this movie looks as good as it does, and honestly, I gotta grab Demons 2 on 4K Blu-ray now, because this 4K Blu-ray was just so good, and I enjoyed the film so much that it's going into my permanent rotation, that I could definitely recommend this 4K Blu-ray. And as long as that Synops Films version that's coming out on August 13th is the same version as this, I think you guys will be eating good in the neighborhood. So how would I rate this entire 4K Blu-ray on a score of 1 to 10? I would actually give this one an 8.5 out of 10. It's definitely worth your time and money, but I would say if you live in the United States, wait for the Synops version, although it is going for $45, so you can actually buy this version right now for $37. $7 off of Amazon. Yeah, you get a little bit higher price than what you would have to pay, and doesn't have the premium packaging, but if you're looking to save a little bit of money, you can actually go that route as well. And like I said, it should be the same version. Either way, this is a great film. I love this movie, and I really appreciate Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews recommending this film to me because I just had a blast watching it. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate that one, buddy. And you guys could also become a channel member if you would like. We have a producer's tier as well, where you'll find John Doe Juggalo, Jason Martin, and Mr. Smelly Potato. And we also have that director's tier like I was telling you about with Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. Check out all the perks for all of our tiers, including a Friends of the Channel tier, in the description below. And guys, it's also Friday, and that means it's time for our Digital Code Giveaway! In every single video we do here on Friday, I'm going to ask you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. All you have to do is answer one of those questions in the comment section below. As long as you do that, you come back to Tuesday's video, put your name on a magic wheel, I spin that bad boy 2 times. The 2 names it lands on, they have their choice of the digital code that you've seen on your screen before you today. And this week I'm asking you, we're talking about giallo horror films, we're talking about Italian horror films. What is the most underrated horror film that you have ever seen? So that's a good question I thought to ask this week, and I thought, it would be a fun one. What's a genre to you personally that you would like to dive more into? I feel like we all have a genre that we just don't really love. For me, it's always been musicals. I know for Frank, for Frank's Media Reviews, it's always been westerns. There's always that genre that just doesn't really connect with you. But, you as a film fan, we always want to explore those genres because we want to love all movies. Like for me, I'll still try and go back and try and watch the classic musicals, even though it's like forcing me to do it. But it's like, yeah, I know this movie's great. It just doesn't work for me because I don't love the genre. But either way, I gotta watch this movie. But what's a genre for you guys that you don't really love that you would like to watch more of those films? I thought that would be a fun question to answer this week. So make sure you guys leave those answers in the comments section below. And also, guys, this Tuesday we'll be doing our channel members giveaway. So if you are a channel member, make sure you come back to Tuesday's video where I'll put your name on a magic wheel where you can end up winning one of the 4K Blu-rays that we're giving away this Tuesday. But if you got no money to throw away, guys, don't you worry about it all. All we care about is if you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.